Good day to you and welcome to another tutorial from Xenotrust where we are going to look at how to center anything in CSS. Okay, so whether you're using the grid layout or the flexbox layout, I'm going to show you how to center absolutely anything in CSS. Okay, so first off, I'm going to create a div. I'll say div with a class of container. Okay, and within this container, I'm going to create another div with a class of child. Okay, and then I'll save. Of course, I am going to write some styles here for my container, and essentially I'm going to say I want my container to have a, let's just say I want it to have a background. So I'll say background color of like a gray color. So I'll say hash 777. So this would be like a dark gray color, and I would say I want it to have a height of 100% of the viewport height. So that's 100 VH, and then I'll save. So this is like a dark gray color, and then let's add some content for our child. So within the child element here, I would say I want it to have a paragraph, so a P of center of the world yeah, and then I'll save this, and as you can see we have, wow, CEN, center of the world. Okay, and okay, so let's add some styles for the child. So I'll say the child, and I want the child to have a border of, so I'm just going to use the shorthand notation. I'll say 1px, and I want it to be solid, and I want it to be the color red, and then I'll close it up. And of course I want it to have a padding of, maybe we should just say 10px, and then let's save and see what we've done so far. So because it's a block level element, the paragraph tag is a block level element, sorry, the div tag is a block level element, it occupies absolutely everything here. Okay, the what's it called, the border occupies the whole length of the block. Okay, so I'm going to change the display to inline block. So that should be block, and then I'll save. And as you can see, what that does is that it's, you know, the border occupies only the area where the only the necessary area for the content. Okay, so maybe I should change the color to white of the text. So I'll make the color of the text #FFF and save it. So if you are wondering what this is, so this is a an extension I have on my Emmet, on my Visual Studio Code, sorry. It's a browser preview extension, and I have live server also activated on the Visual Studio Code, such that when I make changes to my code here and I click on Control Save, it automatically displays the change here. Okay, so now if I want to center this horizontally and vertically, basically all I need to do is I need to add a display property, so a position property, sorry. So if I say I want the position to absolute, okay, and remember, to have an absolute position, then it needs to be in reference to something, so in reference to the container. So I'm going to set the container to position relative. Okay, and then I'll save it. Of course, you're not going to see any change yet, but by the time we start writing some style, so I'll say I want it from the top to be 50%, 50%, and I want it from the left to be 50% as well, and then I want to Okay, let me just save and show you what that does. So it's, brings it somewhere here, and this is not the absolute center, right? And then, so this is where I'll now use the transform property. So if I say transform, so I have it here, and then I'll translate it. Okay, so translate, and I'll say minus 50%. So this is in the bit to center it. So so I'll say minus 50% and minus 50%. So this, and then comma, and minus 50%, and then I'll save. And what that does is that it centers it perfectly, okay, such that even if I change the width, it's still centered. So I'm changing the width of the browser, and as you can see, it's still centered. So that's how you center stuff perfectly, okay, on using CSS. And this will work when you use the grid system. Okay, now it's much easier using the flexbox system, as I'm going to show you here. Okay, so let's do something here. What I'll do is I'm going to remove these styles, okay, or maybe I'll just comment out the styles so we can still see them, and then I'll save, and of course it goes back here. All right, so what I'll do is I want to change my code just a little bit. So what I'll do now is I'm going to say, for my child, maybe I want something else. So maybe I should just comment all of this out and write new styles here. Okay, and then I also do not need the position relative, so I would also comment it out and save. So we just have center of the word here. It's very simple, center of the word. Yeah, what I'll do next is maybe I should just drag this up a little, just a minute, and yeah, so we can have more space here. So for our child, I will just add some new styles. So I would give my child a background color. So first off, I'll change this to center, so it's just a little bit of text. Center, and save. Okay, and I'll come here and I'll give it a height of 100 pixels and a width of same 100 pixels px, and let's give it a background color, so BGC of red, and let's save and see what we've done. So there's apparently, okay, so this should be background color, and save. Okay, so we have this guy here. So now let's attempt to center this using the flexbox. Now if I come to the container, okay, the container is the div that contains this child div. I'll come here and I'll say I want my display to be flex, and then let's save. So nothing so far, but then let's also say we want our justify content to be centered. Now what this will do is that it will center this box here on the horizontal axis, or what is also known as the main axis, okay, or the x-axis. So if I save, you see that this is centered horizontally. Okay, now if I want to center it vertically, all I just need to do is to say align and items, and I will also set that to center, and if I save, it will center it both horizontally and vertically. So align items centers it on the vertical axis, okay, also known as the y-axis or the cross axis. Okay, so essentially that's how you can center. Maybe I should change the color of the background color of the container to something lighter. Okay, So essentially that's how you center stuff both horizontally and vertically using the flex box. Okay. What I want to do next is I want to center this word center within the child div. So essentially that's very easy. All you just need to do is to replicate these styles. So I'll say Ctrl C, and if I come here and replicate it here and save, you see that it centers that text, you know, absolutely centered within the red box here. Okay. Don't forget that if you have a block element within a block element, you can also center it with margin 0 and auto if you just want to center it horizontally. So but essentially with these techniques I've given you here, you can center absolutely anything you want. Okay. All right. So if you gained anything from this tutorial, then subscribe to my channel. I create content around web development and other areas. So but just in case we only simply wanted to center something horizontally, and let's say we wanted to center a block element horizontally, so what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to comment out the rest of this code. Okay, so let me just quickly do that here, and I'll do control this to comment it out, and I'll save. So we just have this text centered, and here also I would comment out this display flex code, and then I'll save. So we have our center right here. So essentially I'm assuming that you have like a block level element, like this div we have here. So essentially what you can do too is, if you have a block level element, you can just simply say text align and set it to center. Now remember that this is a paragraph element, which is a block level element, but it's within a div, which is also a block level element. Now if I set text align within this container and save it, what will happen is that it will center the content within this container div, and it centers it in the middle. Okay, so essentially there are different ways. You can also use margin 0 and auto to center stuff horizontally. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, let's just uncomment a part of this code out, and of course I don't need the flex display flex properties, so I'm going to comment them out, and I'll save this to have my what's it called, red background. Okay, okay, so now within this child theme, child class rather, I'm going to add the 0 and auto margin. So I'll say margin, and I would say 0 and auto, and then I would save this, and let's see what happens. So you see margin 0 and auto centers this div with a class of child within the container div. Okay, so essentially these are various ways you can center stuff using CSS. So either you use the grid layout or the flexbox layout. With one of the techniques I've showed you in this video, you should be able to center whatever it is you want in CSS. Okay, so if you are not subscribed to my channel, I want to encourage you to subscribe, especially if you liked the content, because I create more content around web development and other stuffs. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. See you in another one.